Well, good morning, Longhaultanker, straight razor shaving with Longhaultanker, and today is Wednesday the 15th of November 2023 at approximately 12:10 p.m. Central Time, and we're going to do a straight razor shave. I've got approximately 48 hours worth of whiskers on my face, and you can see them sticking up right there. That looks like wiry bristles to me. And let's introduce the equipment for this afternoon. And for the face shave, we're going to use the Thiers Issard, I call it Eagle, 5/8 round point C135 steel. And in my current roll-up, this is the next to last razor of the 7, and this was honed on a Coticule. And so we're kind of continuing in that theme of the Coticule stone. You know, I've got 2 Coticule stones. I call them my A and my B. And this was honed on the A Coticule. For my head shave later, we're going to use the gold $1.66 stainless steel. And it's got a nice marking on the face of the blade. And, you know, it's gold dollar. They can dress it up all they want. It's still gold dollar. But it hones up okay, satisfactory. For the soap today, we're using the Candre Agrumes. It's a very nice citrus scent. And, of course, the Thiers Issard is French. Candre is French. And so we just couldn't help but use the Plisson number 20, 30 millimeter high mountain white bristles set in genuine horn. And that's a big brush. It's got a nice hefty handle. You can grab onto it. And so we'll let that continue to soak. If I look a little flushed this morning, I'm a little warm, a little hot. I've been outside most of the morning doing some yard work. Our house sits on the fence line, the backyard. Now this is just the water I poured off the puck, off the jar. But it still starts to cream up and lather up pretty good, and I haven't even begun to whip up the brush yet. But our backyard fence line sits upon a tree line, several acres, I want to say even several hundred acres of trees that lie in a stream on both sides. They call it the green belt. And it goes through, and it follows the Spring Creek for several miles up and downstream, emptying, I think it's either into the San Jacinto or some other tributary that eventually empties into the San Jacinto, goes down to, goes over to Lake Houston, and then down to the ship channel in Houston, which is even the Brazos River goes to the ship channel, and then out through Galveston Bay. I got some jungle sounds going on in the background. I don't know if you hear them. I hear them plenty loud. Having a cup of coffee. But I did get rather warm. Had to sit down for a while and rest. I'm getting old. Not much you can do about that. But I do have an interesting, what I think is at least a little bit interesting relative to my job and so forth. We'll get into that in a minute. I got home on Friday So today is Wednesday, and so this is day number 6 at home, but there's a bit of a reason for that. There's more than just a lack of loads going on. I did make some inquiries yesterday and found out for the year 2000, well, let me back up. Last year, 2022, in late August, early September, I made inquiry as to my ranking for our terminal in terms of my position relative to miles, and found out that of the company drivers, not owner-operators, but company drivers, as of that time last year, I was number 1 driver with about 115,000 miles. And of course, I've been saying that the volume of loads has been dropping for the last 2 years. And I've been increasingly having 3, 4, and 5 days off between loads, if not more. Nice thing about Martin de Candre, it lathers up very nicely. It also lasts forever. I've had these now for over a year, and I've just used that much. Now I've got 5 different Martin de Candres. I'll go through those in a minute, but each of them have about this much. I rotate through them fairly evenly. But they lather up just like you would expect a good lathering shaving soap would. Very, very nicely. Very much preferred, I might say. For me, I could shave off of Martin de Candre as much as I like the others that I say that I do, Tabac, Mitchell's Wool Fat. I really love Martin de Candre. But I view it as kind of a luxury soap, a non-essential soap. I don't know if that jungle music's a little loud for you. It is for me, so I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Excuse me just for a second. I'll edit that little bit out. All right. So, I was number 1 driver as of early September last year with about 115,000 miles. I don't remember the exact number. And so, I'm not going to go into all the story, but the upside is that I called and made similar inquiry just the other day, yesterday morning, and found out that for company drivers, this terminal, Houston terminal, that very nice, just like you would expect, very smooth for a conical edge. That I was number 41 out of 101 drivers, which makes me in the top 40 percentile, which means call me average, you know. So I'm about average. I'm not behind, I'm not especially ahead. And I got a new truck. My buddy and I, we were, our trucks, 2018 model, Mack trucks, Mack Anthem. And our two trucks had the most number of miles of the 2018 Anthem model. And he had about 475,000 and I had 545,000 miles over 5 years, because I got my truck in October, November of 2018. Okay, so I got a new truck. And given that I put 545,000 miles on, that's about just less than 110,000 miles per year. Not bad. My best year ever was about 35,000 miles, but that goes back 5-6 years ago when we was just hot dogging it all the time. And so day before yesterday, I got the phone call from my terminal manager that I was being assigned to a new truck. He gave me the truck number. He told me to get my gear moved over as soon as possible. And so I went down to the yard yesterday morning to get that done, and got started on the job at about 10 o'clock in the morning, Central Time yesterday, and didn't get done until 3:30, 5.5 hours, getting all my gear moved over. You know, microwave, refrigerator, my bunk, my extra mattress that I have, my personal mattress topper. A truck mattress is terrible. And so most of the drivers always put one of those nice mattress toppers on. And that's a bit awkward, you know, moving all that stuff. And so it took all that while to get everything moved over, make sure everything was running just right, make sure the controls of the truck are not so much different than the controls of the old truck, so you know what you're doing when you get into it. And they were, by and large. There are a couple of different switches, you got to learn what they do. So my good friend, the other truck driver who got a new truck, informed me that he got a load and he's out on the road this morning headed to Ohio. And he said, make sure you get your fifth wheel adjusted before you go out, or the trailer won't sit right. It won't be well balanced weight distribution. And so I called the shop. I said, has that been done? Also, my truck, as of yesterday, did not have in-transit heat lines, and the shop was saying that they were having trouble getting rubber hose for the in-transit heat line, didn't know when they were going to come in on order, and that created a bit of angst, only to find out at the end of the day that they had been ordered and would be here this morning. And so I called this morning, and sure enough, they had come in, the job was done, so my truck is now officially released to go on a new load. Okay, good, great, fine. And so when that call came in, telling me that the in-transit heat lines had been installed, I inquired about the fifth wheel, and it's like he scratched his head and said, oh yeah. You know, and I'm just kind of smirking on the other end of the phone. And, well, why didn't you do that? You knew you had to do it. I mean, my friend who got the load to go to Ohio, he left this morning, and so this whole business with his fifth wheel happened just this morning. That was early, you know, like, well, I think he said it was about 7 o'clock this morning that he went in to go get his load. It was supposed to be back to the yard preloaded yesterday by 5 o'clock, and it wasn't. It was later, and he said, well, I'm not going tonight. I'm going in the morning. Of course, they always tell you, yeah, if you'll be at your truck by noon, that preload should be back by 1 or 2 o'clock, and it's always 4 or 5 o'clock before it does, and you lay over I lay over on the yard. He went home. He's close enough to the yard that he just went home. And got up early and came back to the yard this morning and found out that business about the fifth wheel. But the adjacent point to that for me, the parallel point for is that they didn't check my fifth wheel. He and I were the only two that were assigned new trucks out of this current batch of 6. Now others will be coming soon enough. But once you buy a truck like that, there are things to do, permits, licensing, all that stuff has to be done before the truck can be assigned out to a driver. And, you know, street legal, street ready and legal license plates, that seems to be one of the last things that occurs is that, oh, we're still waiting on the license plates. Okay, it's not ready for me then, is it? Just wonderful. Nice and smooth. Cutting very well. Like I said in a recent video, sharp is sharp enough. Yeah. So we got everything moved over. My new truck is set up just exactly like the old truck. Very nice. I'm about ready to turn that soundtrack off. It's annoying me. Excuse me while I do that. It's just beautiful. So that's kind of the end of the story. Got a new truck, got all my gear moved over, and apparently this morning all of the hoses have been, the in-transit heat hoses have been taken care of, and I'm ready to roll. All I'm doing now is waiting for a load assignment, Oh, I'm waiting for confirmation on that fifth wheel check. The fifth wheel is the large metal plate that the kingpin on the trailer slides into and locks, and that's what pulls the trailer. So we got the fence line in the backyard. I don't know if I completed my story or not, but I was out doing a couple of things. I was pruning all of the junk, weeds and limbs and stuff that comes in through the fence from the wooded area that comes through the fence into the yard. And we got about 60, 80 feet across the back of the property, so there was a good bit of pruning to do. And that's okay. It annoys me. I wish there was a path along the fence line on the other side, which there's not. And I've been saying, we've been here for 5 years now, and I've been saying for years that I'm going to get a chainsaw and go back there and cut a 3-4 foot swath away from the fence line, so that wilderness stuff doesn't keep creeping into my yard so much. But that I never, we've had a couple of snake issues since we've been here, and I know the fall and winter snakes are much more dormant than they are during the summer. We do have copperheads and water moccasins back there, so that's a concern. In fact, a copperhead bit one of our chihuahuas. I think it was the second year that we were here, so she's been dead for about 3 years now. Got a nice little plaque sign in the backyard. Here lies Pixie. Well, she doesn't actually lie there, but we have it posted right where she was bitten on the ground, the spot that she was bitten on the ground. And she didn't start to go into severe respiratory distress, you might say, until about 8 hours later, which would have taken us into I was out on the road. I didn't get home until the next morning. And And by the time I got home, the end was near. And she just finally stopped breathing. One of the first signs was she had almost no mobility. She kind of went into a paralysis. And of course, that's what snake bites do. They attack your respiratory system, your nervous system, all of that goes. And I suppose the actual cause of death was suffocation. And we've heard stories in the neighborhood publication that goes out once a month, reports the stories of other poisonous snake. And it's just I do believe there's been some spottings of coral snakes. But the most common here are the moccasin and the copperhead. I've not heard of any sightings of rattlesnakes, though it wouldn't surprise me. With the Spring Creek just 40 or 50 yards down the embankment of our backyard. It's a perfect location for water moccasins, cottonmouths. And with all the foliage, I would imagine that's a good location for rattlesnakes too, but I haven't heard of any sightings of such. But copperheads, yes. And they are lethal. Biggest snake I ever saw in the wild was in Arkansas. And it was a copperhead. I was way out in some timber country, logging country. And That thing must have easily been 8 to 10 feet long and nearly as big around as my wrist. That was a sight to behold, I will tell you. Very nice. Very smooth too. All right, third pass. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Smooth, not harsh. And when I say harsh, I use that comparatively speaking. 30,000 Shapton glass might be harsher than Arkansas stone finish. But an Arkansas might be a little harsher than the Coticule, or whatever stone you might be using and whatever priority of progression you decide for yourself. All right, let's rinse it off and see what we got and do some finishing strokes and move on to the head shave. Probably the most unpleasant part of yesterday's moving into the new truck is, of course, you got to move everything, all of your work tools, all of the fittings for the hoses themselves, the unloading hoses. Those are about 20 feet long, 3 inches diameter. They weigh anywhere, I don't know, 50, 60 pounds each, and getting them up onto the hose rack, getting them down off the old truck, putting them up on the new truck. I had 3 of them, and that was probably the second most unpleasant part of the whole thing. But the first part is that some years ago, because I do so much winter driving and snow and ice in the western states, you're required by law to carry snow chains for the drive tires. And so what a lot of the long haul drivers will do is they'll take two sets of chains, one right, one left. Not that there's any difference in the chains, but you got to have two sets. And just put them in the truck and leave them there. Technically, what you're supposed to do is check them out from the, and turn them in at the end of every trip. But most of the drivers just hold on to them year-round. Now, our company requirement is that we're supposed to carry them during the legal requirement, or the legal season for them, which is, it's either September 1st or September 30th through April 30th, May 1st, something like that. But most drivers just throw them in the truck, leave them there and forget about them. Carry them, but we are prohibited from using them. So if you get into a spot, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Oregon, where they are, where the chain law is in effect, which means you're supposed to chain up to go over certain passes, mountain passes, we're supposed to find a place to park, wait the storm out, wait till the roads are open and clear. We call dispatch, call it in, we claim inclement weather, and we get inclement weather pay. We get the pay, and then it's just a matter of how long are the roads closed until we can commence driving again. And for me, one time that was 24 hours. Others have had longer, most are shorter. Where you get into the difficulty is with ice, more so than snowfall. That is good enough. That is good. It is excellent, but it's good enough. I'm not going to chase the right there, little phantom whiskers. All right, so there's that. Let's move on to the head shave. Let's drive off the Thiers Issard Eagle. Nice little gold wash there. And we'll set that aside. Bring up the gold dollar. But now those snow chains, if you buy them at the truck stop, they're in these little cotton burlap sack kinds of things. Our shop orders them by the case or whatever, and they put them in 2-gallon plastic buckets, and you carry them around as needed. Well, 5 years of hauling them around, never using them, never pulling them out, getting knocked around in that side box underneath the frame behind the cab of the truck. Other things packed in there besides the snow chains, those 2-gallon plastic buckets got smashed and cracked, and so when I went to pull the buckets out, they just fell out. The chains, they just fell out of the buckets inside the side box. And so I had to pull them out by hand and drag them over to the new truck and just hoist them up in there. But they were grimy, they were rusty, they were a mess. Of course, I had gloves on and so forth, but they brushed up against my clothing. And I didn't like that at all. And left a dirty stain mark. I don't know stain, but hopefully it'll wash out. I had on some dark blue, one of my best pair of dark blue sweatpants. And so even if it does stain, I'd go buy another pair. All right, this gold dollar I'm going to pull up was honed up on a Shopton Glass 30,000. This is a stainless steel 66 gold dollar. I don't know if you can see that right there on my finger, but that's my only casualty from yesterday. Okay, very good. Feeling good over here. It was kind of funny after I got home yesterday, and my wife and I are later in the evening preparing for bed. She gives me a big old hug and draws my face close to her face. And she says, "Oh, those whiskers, I thought you just shaved." To which I said, "Yeah, that was yesterday morning." When I hold the razor like this, for that motion right there, it creates a steep angle, which is probably more than what I should have for a straight razor, but it gets those pesky phantom whiskers, hairs. And it does make my head feel smoother, which is kind of the goal, I guess. Oops, I think I got myself. Yep. Yeah, I got myself. All right, we're at the end of the shave anyway, so I'll take care of that. I'll do the refinements as I take care of this. And thank you for joining me, and I'll keep you updated on my new truck and next load, and I will see you down the road.